Welcome into Trust the Process live, and we call it live because we're live, bringing the hottest topics in Philadelphia sports to you. And don't worry, if you're not with us now, that means you're hearing it later because you're listening to it in podcast form. And that's great because we encourage you to. And that's because we are everywhere you find your podcasts, whether that be Anchor, whether that be Spotify, whether it be Apple Music. We are everywhere. And we do not choose. We shall be everywhere because we want to be everywhere because we want to come to you every week. That being said, it's good to have you with us. As sometimes, I am your host, James Hyden, with my guys right here, Doc Locke, Josh Safran. How are you on this Monday, my friend?
I more or less couldn't be better. We turned 21 over the weekend.
And let's give some snaps.
Thank you. There is nothing I can't do. The whole world has been opened up to me.
Can't rent a car yet.
What's that?
I love that.
Can't rent a car yet.
Ah, man, they really got me there. But
25. That's when you're really old. Don't worry.
Oh, it's coming. It's coming fast. Where'd you go? What was the first bar that you graced with your presence?
He's never been in a bar before, ever. Never in college.
Oh, man. We had to go to Maxie's right here at the Temple University.
Great call.
Good man.
Yep. Plain and simple. And I'm sure I'll be frequenting there for the rest of my college career.
As you should. Great, fine establishment. Max, while we're on the topic, what was your first bar? Legal bar. First legal bar.
First legal bar was shout out to to Bailey's Bar back in Levittown, PA, the hometown.
Nice.
I actually still have a shirt. I could actually, if you want, give me a second.
Dude, grab that shirt. I think it's honestly a shame that I can't pull this off the top of my head. First legal bar. You know what? I think it was Masters. Rest in peace. I think it was Masters on, because my birthday was on a Sunday. My 21st was on a Sunday. We went to Masters.
It's inside out, but
that was a tough Monday. Hey, we got the Bailey shirt. Oh, that's a good one right there.
It's inside out. You can get the gist of it. I don't remember most of the people signing.
Is it signed?
Yeah, it is. It's inside out. I don't know.
That's a pro move right there. Getting it signed. That's a pro move.
They gave me the T-shirt for free. I mean, that's the benefits of going to your hometown bar, Shout out to Bailey.
Signed by everybody in the bar. I've never heard of that trend. I've never heard of that trend.
I think it's too, no doubt in my mind. I'm not going to look through it all now because we're on schedule here.
We need to normalize that. That needs to be a bigger trend. That's awesome. I'm a big fan. But the man of many digits, however many digits are on that shirt, I couldn't tell you, but that's how many this man has. Max Coolish, how are you?
I'm great, man. I'm great. It's a lovely week, and this long wait for the draft is finally almost over. It feels like this has been the longest I've waited for a draft in years, even way longer than last year. It feels like way longer.
Well, Max segued right there into our main event, and all I have to say is let's get ready to mock it because we are mock drafting for the first question right now. Okay, so what we're gonna do? We're gonna go around. Oh boy, here we go. Picks 1 through 12. All right. If you don't got them all fully laid out, that's fine. You're not a psychotic lunatic like me when it comes to the NFL draft. Tell me what the Eagles should do. All right, Josh, I'm going to come to you with this first, man. So lock it up for me. Who's the lock at number 12? And if you got 1 through 11, lay it out for us.
All right. Wait. Do you have a preference on which one first? Do you want me to rattle off the first 11 mock, or do you want me to go into the Eagles?
Build me up just to tear me down.
All right. I'll build you up. First pick, Trevor Lawrence, simple. 2, Zach Wilson. 3, we got Meatball Mac Jones. 4, I got the Falcons taking Kyle Pitts. 5, I got the Bengals doing the same thing and taking Penei Sewell. And then, this is where it gets a little weird in my opinion. Jamar Chase to the Dolphins. I got Waddle to the Lions. Patrick Surtain to the Panthers at number 8. I haven't seen that very in a lot of places. I think the Broncos will take Justin Fields. The great Drew Lock experiment is over. Then I got the Cowboys taking J.C. Horn, taking him off the board. The Giants taking Rashawn Slater, shore up the offensive line. And I have the Eagles doing it. I have what I want to happen. Eagles take Heisman winner, tiny wide receiver, Devontae Smith. Wow. And I'll just run with this here because that ties right into what I want the Eagles to do. We've talked about this so many times before, about this wide receiver core. And, you look at them now, a lot of people still want to give these guys chances. But I don't want to have this song and dance that we did with Carson Wentz where he doesn't have a wide receiver help around him. I want to get Devontae Smith. And yeah, I do think it's a big if that he falls all the way to 12. But the way I'm hearing a lot of people in the media talk about Devontae Smith is so many teams are souring on him because of his size. And I don't know if I have the exact weight right, but I believe a wide receiver under 170 pounds has never been taken in the first round. So I do totally understand all the weirdness surrounding Devontae Smith. But boys, there's been 4 wide receivers who have won the Heisman Award. And I think it's fair to say that Devontae Smith is an absolute athletic freak while simultaneously filling the biggest need on this Eagles roster. I think it's a match made in heaven and more of a matter of if he falls. Now, what will they do? I feel like you can pencil in J.C. Horn just based on everything I'm hearing, based on the fit, and kind of, based off of the mock drafts I'm seeing. The mock draft I made was a little bit wishful, I guess I'd say. So I think the Eagles will get
so as well.
I think the Eagles will get J.C. Horn, and I tell you, fellas, I'm not looking forward to it. And I don't want to talk too much about why, because I think you two will be excited about J.C. Horn. So I'm just going to leave that out there and pass it over to Digits here.
All right, Max, lay it out for us, bud.
Okay, I mean, you know how the first couple picks go. They're as straightforward as they can go. And of course, I accidentally just exited out of my mock draft, and for some reason, it's making me redo it. So, kind of redoing this on the fly here. But right, the first 2 picks are as knocked down as they get. I don't think there's any secrets left to be kept there. There's been a lot of the 49ers. I have one of my good friends is a 49ers fan. We talk about this a lot, and the rule is the more you hate the pick, the more likely it is to happen. He absolutely hates the idea of Mac Jones. Kyle Shanahan is sending heavy Mac Jones vibes out. I think that ends up being the pick at 3. So I'm sorry, I kind of missed all your picks, Josh. But did you have quarterbacks going in the top 4? Because I have the Falcons taking Trey Lance at 4.
Wow, I got the Falcons taking Kyle Pitts, but hey, I would not put it past them.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure because I thought I missed Kyle Pitts, but then I was like, there's no way he would have had Kyle Pitts fall to past 12. Like, that's not possible. So I kind of figured that's who you had. So I think the Bengals are interesting, right? I can't shake the idea that they're just going to take Jamar Chase. It just doesn't make sense. And like, that's kind of like, you know what I mean? The Bengals have not always made the most sense. And I feel like that would be the catalyst to the whole first round changing, is if the Bengals do take Jamar Chase, because then what do the Dolphins do? Because the Dolphins at this point have been expecting to have one of Chase or Pitts, no doubt. And I think that if the Bengals take Chase, which is what I have it penciled in as ultimately, I want to have a little bit of fun with this. I think Sewell should be the pick here, but I think that means Chase goes 5 and then Pitts goes 6, right? And then that goes to the Lions, because the Lions can use everything. Like, the Lions are maybe the least talented roster in the top 10. Fair? Around there?
The Broncos.
Exactly. The Broncos are not that great too, but I think it's close between those two, right? So what do the Lions do? I think Devontae Smith to the Lions makes a lot of sense. Them losing Kenny Golladay just makes too much sense. Especially, I think they're of the mindset that they're going to get one of the good playmakers between Chase, Pitts, and Devonta Smith, worst case. And I think if it shakes out like this, I think the 3 of them can just go back to back with the ripple effect. And then that is like that's kind of like the worst case scenario for the Eagles, honestly, as much as I hate to say it, because then that leaves the Panthers on the clock, and the Panthers are they going to take Justin Fields? Probably not. Are they going to, are they going to take do they need a receiver? Probably not. So like, by default, they just take Penei Sewell, right? Like, they
I'd
really
see that happening.
I think if you're the Panthers, I think you're loving Penei Sewell at 8. Like, that's money right there. That's money right
Max,
there.
If you don't mind me hopping in real quick, what do you think about the Bengals, just real quick? Because to me, like, I get taking Jamar Chase. He's a stud, and the Joe Burrow connection is there. It just seems idiotic if they were to pass on Penei Sewell.
I totally agree. I'm saying what I think is gonna happen. If I was drafting for the top 12 teams, I would be taking Penei Sewell at 5. I kind of feel like he's going to be the one that does, but I didn't want to make this too cut and dry. So I wanted to have a little bit of fun, but I do think this could genuinely happen. Like I'm not just doing this just to do this. And then I think the Broncos do it. I think John Lynch has seen that he can't keep drafting tall white guys, and I think Game recognizes game, and I think John Elway is happy to take Justin Fields at 9. I don't think the Broncos are sold on Drew Lock, and I think that Justin Fields is maybe the second best quarterback coming into this draft. Like I think a lot of people would be happy to argue that. And I don't know. I think that John Elway's he feels like he's on the hot seat. The Broncos haven't made the playoffs in I think five years straight at this point, and it's a pretty steep drop off from a team that went to 2 Super Bowls and won one in a 3 or 4 year span at the start of his tenureship. So I think he's kind of feeling the the pressure. So I'll finish this up really quick. I think the Cowboys are going to draft offensive line. They got to keep Dak healthy. Zeke had his worst year as a pro. I think that they're going to end up taking Rashawn Slater because I think that they're a team that has just shown that they invest in offense when maybe they should invest in defense. And granted, I drafted before I knew Sean Lee retired, so maybe this changes it to Micah Parsons. But I think that they've had a lot of offensive line issues. Like their offensive line was really beat up last year. They lost I forget who they lost to retirement, but they're dealing with a lot of issues, and that was a team that was built around the offensive line and not needing Dak to be the 45 touchdown a year guy, even though he was on pace to do that last year. So we're getting close, and this is where I think it gets tough because the Giants don't really need any of the top players available. So I'm not really sure what the Giants.
Not really sure what the Giants will do.
I'm back. Sorry.
There you go.
I'm just going to finish. I think that the Giants are going to ultimately lean to defense just because that's their strong suit. I think that just kind of makes the most sense for them. I kind of think they might take Christian Barmore, actually. Corner doesn't make a ton of sense for them. They have a number 1 corner. Linebacker, their linebacker group is good. They have Blake Martinez, who is a tackling machine for them, I believe, after he left Green Bay and went there, if I'm remembering correctly, or one of the linebackers. I might be getting my names mixed up. But anyway, that leads us to the Eagles, and somehow the Eagles stumbled into having 3 amazing picks in front of them, which I didn't really think was possible as I was doing this 5 picks ago. But if Waddle, Parsons, Surtain are available, they have to go Waddle, right? Like they have to. That has to be the pick. Like that is – all 3 of those are position and need. So I'm going to go on the record and say this. If that is how it shakes out, or even if 2 of those 3 are available and they take the one that isn't Waddle, I'm cool. Those are all 3 fine picks for the Eagles. They're all day 1 starters. We're not 1 year away. We're 2 drafts away at most. I need surefire, lockdown, good pick talent at 12 here. And if I'm choosing between Parsons, Surtain, and Waddle, I'm getting that out of any of those 3 guys. So I'm cool with that, but Waddle's the dream there. Waddle's the dream we need. We need to make this offense dynamic. You can't win in the NFL with slow, boring offense. It doesn't work anymore.
Well, boys, I'm about to shake stuff up.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, hit me.
Lawrence Wilson, Lance.
Woo!
At number 3.
Okay.
There's a lot of chatter coming out today that Kyle Shanahan loves himself some Mac Jones, but quote-unquote might acquiesce to the front office, who is absolutely salivating over Trey Lance. So Lance, number 3, to the Bay Area. Atlanta at number 4, Justin Fields. Arthur Smith comes in there, needs his guy at quarterback, wants to pull a Pat Mahomes, have him sit behind the wily veteran who, let's be honest, was better than Alex Smith, and learn and grow. Honestly, I couldn't pick a better offense for a rookie quarterback to come in and learn than an offense with Matt Ryan teaching you the ropes, Arthur Smith, a great offensive mind, Julio Jones, Calvin Ridley, and Russell Gage around you, and Austin Hooper to throw balls to when you're young. Couldn't pick a better offense. I think Justin Field lucks out, goes back and becomes a hometown kid for the Atlanta Falcons. Will it work out? I don't know. All I'm doing is predicting here. Number 5, the Cincinnati Bengals. grab Kyle Pitts.
Whew.
They don't go Jamar Chase. They don't give him back his security blanket. They take a potential Hall of Famer, Kyle Pitts, out of Archbishop Wood, just a little bit up 95 from here. They want the next Shannon Sharp, and by God, I'm giving it to them. The Lions have been slated as one of those teams that would move down for more draft capital, but man, Jamar Chase just fell into their lap at number 7. They're not going anywhere. They're taking Jamar Chase out of LSU at number 7. The Carolina Panthers are looking around like, fuck, we should have traded up. Don't get it done. So they take Penei Sewell, who is honestly a steal for them at number 8 because they just signed Russell Okung. And let's be honest, he should not be your left tackle if you're planning on competing with Sam Darnold. They take Penei Sewell. They see what they can do down there with Matt Rule. I love it. Let's go Panthers. The Denver Broncos. They got Peyton in there. Not Peyton Manning. Peyton, their new GM. Forget his first name's escaping me, but he's coming from Minnesota, who is all about drafting first-round cornerbacks. Patrick Surtain to the Broncos. They want to rebuild that no-fly zone secondary, and Dallas is heartbroken, so they have to go J.C. Horn out of South Carolina. They want that boundary defender because they have nobody. So Patrick Surtain and J.C. Horn go off the board back-to-back. The New York Giants, David Gettleman has never traded back in his career as a GM. He goes Micah Parsons to get that leader on the defense. Now, the Eagles sitting here at number 12 have both wide receivers from Alabama absolutely just fall into their lap. And they take Jalen Waddle because Jalen Waddle is by far the superior prospect. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care what the awards say. Devontae Smith had 4 missed tackles all of last season. 4 on how many receptions? No, I'm sorry. He can't do it. I wish the kid all the best, but when you're 168 pounds soaking wet, I'm sorry, man. You just can't, you can't get that separation for me. I don't care how good your routes are. You take a forearm from anybody and you're broken in half. I'm hearing nothing but the best about this kid. He's supposedly a quarterback. Like Mac Jones would come up to him on the sidelines and ask him what he's seeing, which, by the way, doesn't tell you great things about Mac Jones.
Yeah.
But from all accounts, the kid is a great football mind. But I'm sorry, under 170 pounds, I'm pretty sure he's like barely 6 feet tall. Like it doesn't have the blow you away straight line speed. It's just, I wish him all the best, but Jalen Waddle is by far the better draft prospect. Now you've also got Caleb Farley sitting there, who, if his medical's clear, could be the best cornerback prospect in this class. When he was playing at Virginia Tech, he was an absolute baller. Kid's a freak on the boundary. So I think they go Jalen Waddle in this scenario. But to me, they just need to go BPA. Whatever their board says, and
don't say that.
I know that statement doesn't sit well here in Philadelphia, but you lucked out with a draft class that has a very deep top end of talent. It starts to sputter out around like 25, 27. But 12 it's not idiot proof, but you could luck your way into somehow Howie looking good. BPA needs to be attacked. I think if my projections aren't right and a cornerback, either one of J.C. Horn or Surtain lands there, I think you need to go cornerback over wide receiver. I think this draft class might actually end up being deeper at the wide receiver position than last year.
So wait, Banners, just real quick. If Jalen Waddle's on the board at 12, and for somehow like Waddle and Surtain are somehow both on the board at 12,
you gotta go Surtain. You got to go Surtain.
Really?
You don't have a cornerback 2 right now.
Yeah,
there's not one on the roster.
I mean, you don't have cornerback 2, and then you certainly don't have cornerback 3 with Mr. Jacket over there. I'm not even going to say his name right. So
yeah, Maddox needs to be your slot corner. Like you don't. You need to go Surtain. Not only is it need based, Surtain is a very, very good prospect for man to man. And if there's anybody you want Surtain learning from, it's Darius Slay, who's been one of the best lockdown corners for the better part of a decade. It's just it needs to happen. You can let Jalen Hurts figure it out with your wide receivers for another year, because there's still 6 more rounds to address the wide receiver position and try and add, because there's going to be guys like Terrence Marshall Jr. sitting there late end of the first, second round. If you want to trade back up, I think Terrence Marshall Jr. is probably the most pro ready wide receiver in this draft over guys like Jamar Chase, over guys like Jalen Waddle, over Devontae Smith. Terrence Marshall Jr. is a sleeper.
All right, well,
watch it out.
I mean, what about making the case for, because like I just can't, I would lose it. I'd be typical Philly Eagles fan of freaking out if Jalen Waddle's on the board and they go with someone in the secondary. That's not a knock on Surtain. It is a knock on J.C. Horn. And I do think Horn and Farley will be good. It's just, I'm so sick and tired of doing this song and dance with no wide receivers. But why can't they, what about getting Waddle or Smith or your wide receiver at 12, then trading back up and trying to get an Asante Samuel Jr. to get the secondary need?
Asante Samuel Jr., as much as I love the kid's heart, he's going to have issues with size. Take a look at players like Mike Hughes. Like, for as good as your ball hawking ability can be, you're going to get bullied by guys with size, like Julio Jones, like Devontae Adams. It's just you can't invest a first-round pick or even a second-round pick in a cornerback who is 6 feet or below and expect him to play outside. He should be valued as a slot cornerback, and he should be drafted as such, which means a later pick. And it's to me, Devontae Smith is not on my board. I want a team like the Raiders. I'm not taking Devontae Smith. I want a team like the Raiders to take a chance on him, because there's guys like a Terrence Marshall Jr., like I mentioned, like a Rashad Bateman out of Minnesota.
So you would rather have Rashad Bateman, who I think is going to be a very good NFL wide receiver.
Yes. Before you finish the question, yes.
Wow. I'm shocked.
Yeah.
And
I'm sorry, when the Raiders. When he's wide receiver 2, borderline wide receiver 3 for the Raiders in 4 years, we're going to look back at this and I'm going to say, yeah, I'm sorry, I told you, but the kid just can't get separation.
I'm not buying it. That's why I don't think.
Josh, how much do you weigh?
How much do I weigh? 100, 150, 153 maybe. Depends.
Right, so
depends how much I have.
Add about 20 pounds to you. So in a couple months, once you're all bulked up on the beer you're legally allowed to drink, let's add 20 pounds on you soaking wet, and then stick you up against a 6'2", 6'3",
give me 5 more inches of height.
200-pound cornerback.
Yeah, but I didn't just win the Heisman of college football and
sure, that's a good
what was the key word there?
College football?
College.
Yeah, but all of these guys are college players. I don't know how that how does that only apply to Devontae Smith? Like, it's still
wait. How are you arguing with me when you were the one that gave the stat about no receiver under 170?
Because he's an anomaly. Because he's an absolute freak of an athlete. I mean, there's only 4 wide receivers who ever won the Heisman either. Like, what about that stat?
Is he though? I don't know if he's an anomaly. I think he had a great year.
Ben, it's like, you saw it. Like, college football. Yeah. All these guys played college football. I don't know how you're using that against him.
Well, because one's 30 pounds lighter than the next prospect.
Okay, then he's 30 pounds lighter. It's like the easiest part of transitioning to the NFL. You can put on mass.
Quote unquote bulk up, but the stat I referenced before, in a full season, he had 4 missed tackles, guys. 4 missed tackles at the wide receiver position.
How many did Jalen Waddle have last year, though? So
he had 2 in the games he played. So
really?
Half in the 2 games, or no, the 2.5 games.
I'm not going to disagree with you that he's probably not going to translate to the NFL nearly as well as he was in college, but
winner.
I mean, I'm not going to say that he isn't a pretty damn good talent either.
Oh, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I don't want any part of him.
Oh man, I'm putting my chips in,
but it's okay.
To me, if I'm taking a wide receiver 1, I shouldn't have any questions about probably the most important skill set at the position. Does that make is that fair?
Catching. I think catching is the most important
part of being a wide receiver.
arguably 1A, 1B. Catching
All
and
right.
catching and getting separation. Is getting separation at the wide receiver position not 1A, 1B?
I mean, it just
Yeah,
makes
no,
the job easier. If you can make every catch with someone draped over you, then it doesn't matter how good your route running is.
And that's
All right.
and that's my thing about Devontae Smith, where it's like, we can talk all day about this, but I think my final thing would be like, yes, I did bring up that stat. I'm acknowledging the elephant in the room when we talk about Devontae Smith, but for as much as he weighs, that guy has man hands, and he can catch the ball draped in coverage, and he can get the separation in college, right? Remains to be seen in the NFL. I hear you, but I am saying all my chips are in. I am ready to take a chance on this kid because he was one of the most, elite wide receiver talents we've seen in my lifetime.
At 12, though?
Yes. Like, short answer, yes.
Yes. Yeah, I don't know how you can argue that with the state of this team. If you can draft a guy who just won the Heisman at a position and need at 12, like I get you have your personal opinions, but regardless, like he's no worse than the fourth best receiver in this draft, fifth best pass catcher, maybe. You know what I mean? Like at worst.
I don't know. See, I don't know if I fully agree with that. I don't know why the Heisman thing is not a big deal to me. It never really is, even with quarterbacks. I don't hold the Heisman
I think it's
award.
more impressive as a receiver.
I would agree. I just don't. I would agree that it's impressive in the college ranks. I don't. To me, it doesn't hold. Like I don't think that changes your value to me. Like in terms of like draft slot. You know what I mean? Does that? I don't know why it just doesn't really mean much to me. So it's just if I'm at 12,
I feel you. That is objectively correct.
Like if I'm at 12, I want to take, especially if I'm Howie Roseman, I want to lock.
Yeah.
To me, Devontae Smith is not a lock.
But then just to kind of play devil's advocate to you,
right.
if you don't want to take into account the most prestigious individual award you can get, that's almost like discrediting all of the first team SEC, second team SEC, because those are all individual accolades too. And it's like, okay, so how do you then determine who are the better players in college football? The guys who are recognized by their peers in the media as, the first, second, and third team in their conference. But if we're just throwing all that out, then everybody's a blank slate, and any guy who's 6'2" and 200 pounds and plays corner should be a top 10 pick, regardless if he went to Morehead State or Alabama. You know what I mean? So,
what would you say if I told you I don't even look at the all SEC teams and like still feel this way?
That's fair. I'm not, I'm more of an eye test guy myself. So
that's what it is for me. It's the eye
test.
I
test too, but if you're asking me to start scouting from the ground up, I'm going to start with the guys who are recognized as the best and use them as the standard and see who compares to them.
And just, why are we discounting that he can't put on weight? I mean, look at guys in the NBA. Look at Giannis when he was drafted. Look at Kevin Durant. And I know it's a different sport, but like, he's not fixed at 166 or whatever it is. He can put on weight.
Well, I'm not discounting it, but it's a trade-off. You know what I mean? So a guy who already doesn't have blow you away speed has to now tack on 15 pounds to not get bullied. Like, I'm not sure those two things don't really equate. You know what I mean?
I hear you.
All right.
I hear you, but I'm all in. I'm just all in.
The great Devontae Smith debate. Who knew?
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not sold. Sell me. You know what? I want the national
media to sell me this Devontae Smith.
I want to hear Mel Kiper and I want him to sell me on Devontae Smith.
I wish we could put the Mel Kiper Jimmy Clausen clip in here without getting copyright infringement. That'd be awesome.
Slinging Jimmy Clausen. That's a good name pull, man. Jimmy Siggs. That's tough.
That's my favorite Mel Kiper moment is when he went balls to the wall on air and said, if Jimmy Clausen isn't a starting caliber NFL QB, I'll quit this job. Mel never followed through on his end of the bargain.
Hey, Mel.
We're coming for you, Mel.
We checked tape. Dude, Mel also got forced into ESPN has been counting on Mel Kiper to retire for like 10 years. Like Todd McShay has just been there like, hey, dude, like, I'm supposed to be like the next you, right?
Right?
He's just still there. And he got bullied into, he never used to do trades in his mock draft. He got bullied into doing trades this year by Todd
year,
McShay.
For the first time in like 35 years of doing the draft, Mel Kiper had to be a journalist. Unfortunate.
Making the graphic for the question. I
had to do it for the clicks. I respect that though. That's the easy way out. Is you don't pit trades. I'm not paid to predict trades. I'm paid to predict 1 through 32 in the order they're in.
Sign it, book it. 1 through 32. Here you go. I'll see you next week. That week we got into both our first questions there for the main event, which I like. That was a really good spirited debate right there, gentlemen.
It was.
Let's see. We kept our cool. This is how you go back and forth. This is how you have a dialogue. Okay. Question number 3, and this is a good one because I'm not sure how you guys feel. Does the QB talent in this draft match the QB demand? And this is following 2 of the craziest QB carousel off seasons in probably my lifetime. Like 26 years of being alive. Some of the craziest quarterback carousel moments ever.
Yeah, I think that golf trade, I put the cherry on the top to end the debate about like QB carousels. Yeah, got to be the craziest. This question, does the talent match the demand? I think this is an easy hell no. Like, I don't think it matches the demand at all. It drives me crazy seeing these teams trade up and banners. You just rattled off your mock draft where you have QBs going 1 through 4.
Yep. Oh, and Mac Jones does go to the Patriots in my mock.
I truly believe Mac Jones, maybe even Trey Lance. It's hard to say because Trey Lance, he played 1 game this season. It's really hard to talk about him. I think Mac Jones is a prototypical 3rd round pick. Like, I think some of these quarterbacks, I think Justin Fields is going to be the 2nd best quarterback out of these guys. But I think Mac Jones and then take one of the other guys out of the 5. Those are 3rd round, 2nd round picks any other year. I don't really understand. Well, I do understand. We understand it's because it's a quarterback-driven league. So the only way to get that new shiny quarterback, that new shiny Patrick Mahomes guy, is to trade up and take a chance on one of these guys. I'll say it now. I'll say it for the next season. I think Zach Wilson is going to absolutely flop. I don't believe in him.
Whoa.
I think the Jets are crazy for getting rid of Darnold so soon and putting all their chips into this guy who I just really am not sold on him. So Zach Wilson is kind of the cherry on the top for me when I look at how these quarterbacks are. But even all these other guys, I'll give you quick rankings, actually. I think it was Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields. I'll put Mac Jones at 3rd, Zach Wilson 4th, Trey Lance 5th. Those are my quarterback rankings. I don't think the talent matches the demand at all.
Well, so I'm going to throw an add-on because you started out that question with a very interesting statement, and I'm changing my camera battery right now, so don't be disturbed by my sight. Okay. I'm going to throw an add-on for you because this brings up a very interesting question. You said that it's crazy how many teams are trading up. So where would Jalen Hurts be in this class?
Oh.
Woo! I think Jalen Hurts would go with Justin Fields like back to back. Like wherever Justin Fields is going, Jalen Hurts would either go right before or right after him. So, but it's hard to say. I don't know because I think the Niners might be infatuated with Jones and Lance. I think that's just personal preference. I think Jalen Hurts would be the 2nd best quarterback out of all of them. But based on the fact that he fell to the 2nd round last year, I'd say he'd go right before or right after Justin Fields.
Wait, so you actually would have taken Jalen Hurts in the 2nd last year? You don't think that was a reach?
No, I support it to this day. I don't think that we should talk about Jalen Hurts, the quarterback, and talk about where he was drafted. Why can't we just enjoy him? I don't get it.
That's crazy. Okay, you know what? I'm not going to do it.
You're forever intertwined with your draft slot, unfortunately.
Yeah, you guys know I'm the Hurts guy.
Max, does this QB talent match the demand? And where would Jalen Hurts be in this draft?
I mean, obviously the talent doesn't match the demand. I mean, you're telling me that a guy from BYU, Alabama, and North Dakota State are 3 of the top 4 QB prospects? That's not good. You get one of those every couple of years. Alabama quarterbacks have been, notorious for not doing anything at the pro level.
And
Mac
Ohio
Jones
State.
seems to be the best well positioned, and even still, he's one of the most polarizing draft prospects. It feels like in years, and I think that's really the craziest thing is that the guy who is being touted, two guys are being touted as high as third overall. Both of them are wildly differing, in terms of their opinions throughout the league and in both, professional and casual circles. And, Zach Wilson is Zach Wilson was pretty good in college last year, but, he is definitely your prototypical, let's just say this. Zach Wilson, he should maybe throw a little bit of that first paycheck to Josh Allen after Josh Allen just finished third in MVP voting, because nothing could have been better for this guy than an inaccurate, super mobile, super athletic quarterback from a small Midwest school going and absolutely dominating the league. Right as we were trying to, Josh Allen has progressed year to year, right? Like, you guys know I'm a Josh Allen guy. I don't want to just try to suck him into this too hard, but I think it's a really, really good comparison in terms of what teams are hoping to get out of Zach Wilson at the pro level. Dude, he's big arm, hard to tackle, great runner. I think that if you told the people of the Jets organization that he would be half as productive in his third year as Josh Allen was this past year, I think they're cool with this pick at 2 is basically what I'm getting at here. But nevertheless, the talent doesn't match the demand. Trevor Lawrence has been the chosen one for years, but the rest of these guys had meteoric rises into the top 5 after one season. That stuff is always tricky to me. Mm-hmm. The craziest thing is that the guy who deserves it, quote unquote, and performed at the highest level somehow slipped to 5th in these rankings, which makes it even weirder. And obviously we're not the people paid to sit around and grind tape 8 to 10 hours a day of quarterbacks, but something doesn't sit right with me that the guy who had 3 NFL first-round wide receivers, a guy who's didn't even throw, I think, 35 touchdowns in Wilson or Lance last year. Lance had a weird abbreviated season, so I won't hold stats against him. But my point is that there's only so many guys that can have these meteoric rise to the top, and not all of these guys are going to be successful if they're taken, on the premise that they're going to develop into the best QB in the league. And I think that's important here. To Jalen Hurts, I honestly, it's tough because I can definitely see like someone like the 49ers have obviously thrown lines out there at anyone, but do we not think that Kyle Shanahan would absolutely be grilling Jalen Hurts, and the fact that he would have produced more in college compared to anyone else not named Trevor Lawrence out of this draft class? Yeah. Like, even Justin Fields, he did better than statistically, and it's kind of hard to judge them evenly based on COVID and the shortened schedules for Fields. But, if Justin Fields is getting evaluated this low, there's more production from the Jalen Hurts side, and I would assume they would be touted as similar players. So it's tough because there's the QB rankings – even 2 through 5 really are so volatile. If you threw a 6th one in there, 2 through 6 would be volatile. So I don't really know how to answer that, honestly.
So I actually think that the draft class does meet the demand, because if you look at the board, there's 7 teams, and we'll call it 8 because the 49ers just want an embarrassment of riches, because Jimmy Garoppolo, as much of a ceiling as he does have, is a starter in this league.
Yeah.
So with that caveat being out there's 7, let's call it 8 teams that could use a quarterback. The Jags, the Jets, the Niners, the Falcons could be. So 6, let's call it 8, because the Falcons still have the ghost of Matt Ryan, who is still a starter in this league. The Broncos, I don't include the Panthers because I actually think Sam Darnold with Joe Brady is going to be a very good matchup. The Patriots, the Bears, and the Washington football team. So when you're looking at the board, obviously Lawrence, I think Wilson is going to be a star. The kid has the Jim McMahon mentality of, I just don't give a shit. He's got all the talent in the world, mainly just because I love the way the kid plays. I wish him nothing but the best. Trey Lance, I think, has all the talent in the world. He's actually a lot better of a passer than a lot of people would expect him to be coming out of North Dakota State. Justin Fields has all the talent in the world. I'm not sure where all of this Fields hate has come from. With
me neither.
Like with off the field, like quote unquote character issues. I'm not sure where there's that old adage where there's smoke, there's fire, but I don't know if it's like actual smoke or just like reporters with flares. I think it's just reporters like holding flares in front of them and calling it smoke. Like I don't know if it's like if there's anything actually burning.
So, Anders, can I ask you a question here? Other than Lawrence, who do you think will be the most successful of the bunch? Because I mean, my answer is Justin Fields.
I think it's Zach Wilson.
Oh man, I got a player comp for Zach Wilson. I came up with this while watching a little Zach Wilson tape. The Jets, they think they're getting the next Patrick Mahomes. I think they're getting a worse version of Carson Wentz.
I don't see it.
You don't see it? The playmaking ability, the big play, and not such great talent or competition in college. I could see it happening.
I would draw the direct comparison between Carson Wentz and Trey Lance, but say that Trey Lance has a slightly better touch to him in terms of the ball. Like the kid threw, I think over 20 touchdowns and 0 interceptions in the only full season he played. Like the kid, he's a very good passer. Right? He's a very underrated passer. But I would draw that like direct comparison. I think Max was spot on with the Zach Wilson, Josh Allen comparison. Like it's right there for you. He's just a little bit smaller in stature. Mac Jones, to me, Mac Jones is a Kirk Cousins clone. Like I was about to say, like he is a clone of Kirk Cousins.
Mac Jones will be in the league for a little while. Like Mac Jones won't be an absolute flop. I think he'll be in the league and just be a boring pocket passer and be able to start for a good amount of time.
And when I say clone of Kirk Cousins, he's going to have a Kirk Cousins career. He's not going to win anything, but if you look at where Kirk Cousins ranks statistically all time among passer rating, amongst QBR, everything like that, he's top 5, which I think is like which will shock people. Kirk Cousins being top 5 in those important stats is mind blowing. I think Mac Jones is going to have a similar, if not as unspectacular, career. Yeah. That being said, I think Jalen Hurts would slide in right above Mac Jones, just because of the college production. And everybody gets scared off by Alabama quarterbacks. So I mean, the only 2 teams that I could see clamoring for Mac Jones are Kyle Shanahan because he like literally gets hard over Kirk Cousins, and then Bill Belichick because he had a white guy with a decent arm for 20 years. And then I think everybody's actually sleeping on Kellen Mond out of Texas A&M. Kellen Mond is a very nice prospect. He's got a little bit to clean up in the arm action, but he's a good prospect. Max, what's up?
Steelers at 23 or 24. Book it.
Interesting.
Really? If Najee Harris is off the board by then.
See, I think we need to look deeper into this class too, because Davis Mills out of Stanford didn't play any ball this year, but Davis Mills is a very good prospect in his own right. He's a bigger, athletic guy with a big arm. Let's see. It wasn't very long ago that Kyle Trask was being talked about as a first round pick. He's in the mold of Ben Roethlisberger. So it's like let's not forget about Kyle Trask. Had a pretty good season with the Gators. Sam Ehlinger. It was about a year ago where people were still counting Sam Ehlinger as a decent draft prospect. Hook 'em. Jamie Newman is a very interesting prospect. I mean, you can keep going with Felipe Franks, the kid who transferred from Florida to Arkansas. Shane Buechele out of SMU is actually like a quiet creeper up people's draft boards just because of the physical tools. This is one of the deeper quarterback draft classes in a very long time. I mean, just going down the board, like there's still KJ Costello out of Mississippi State. There's still Ian Book out of Notre Dame. There's still Brady White. Brady White is like a physical freak out of Memphis. Like there's still a good amount of players here that teams will be able to grab in the middle rounds and just develop.
Do they not say that every draft, though? I feel like they say that every single draft. Like, oh, this is the deepest quarterback draft in a while or something like that. I don't know. I'll believe when I see it.
I know last year's was very top heavy, and people do not like the quarterback class next year at all, except for the kid out of Cincinnati. His name's escaping me right now, but that kid –
Desmond Ridder?
Desmond Ridder is going to be a very, very fun watch.
We know all about that A10 football, right, Josh?
American Athletic Conference, Max. It ain't 2010 anymore.
Sorry, I wish it was still the A10. The
Yeah, we
original
dropped
A10
Richmond.
team.
So yeah, I think it actually does match the demand because there's going to be teams that go BPA early and find their developmental guys later on. Nobody's reaching for a Jordan Love this year, I don't think, even though Max is saying Kellen Mond book it to the Steelers. There's actually a rumor that there's a rumor that Jordan Love could be traded now that the Packers are crawling back to Aaron Rodgers.
Wow,
so
that would be something.
That would be fun.
Yeah, hey, we'll see. And then what I say? I actually think Jalen Hurts wouldn't have gone before the late third, early fourth last year.
Hey,
Throwing that
man
out
of my
there.
word. Stand by my guy.
Throwing it out there.
Fourth definitely seems too extreme, but I definitely had him penciled in as more of like late second and third. Like he definitely seemed like good team takes him, says, like, I mean, he was a high upside back. He's not a guy that's like, he's not a guy you should be drafting to replace a guy who's only like 5 years older than him. You know what I mean? He's someone that an old quarterback, like the Saints should have taken him or something like that in the third round, something like that.
Yep. Our last question of the main event. This one's fun. I don't know if you have it off the top of your heads. So, Josh, I feel like you have it off the top of your head. So I'm going to come to you with this first. We're just going to keep going around and round and round in circles. Biggest breakout, sleeper, and bust of this year's draft.
Well, I'll give you my bust first because I think I've talked about it already. It's Zach Wilson. I'm not a believer. You've already heard what I have to say about him. And I am like, this is the most excited I've been to watch rookies just because I feel like with COVID, I guess there's so many question marks now with these rookies, and it's going to be real fun to see, like, I'm very gung-ho about the Zach Wilson take, and I'm excited to watch it play out, eat crow or do a little victory lap. Not that I'm rooting for this guy to fail, but it's fun being right. My biggest breakout, however, in this draft, or at least the first round, it's going to be Mr. Najee Harris out of Alabama. Everyone wants to talk about Meatball Mac and the two receivers, but Najee Harris is just an absolute freak. And when your player comps are like Matt Forte, you got a little Derrick Henry in there too. I think Najee Harris is going to be that classic. You draft one, there's one running back in the first round, and they almost always produce. That's what I think it's going to be, like an immediate impact. Whoever gets Najee, he's going to become a big part of their identity. And my sleeper, I mean, I'm going with a first-round sleeper. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to pull anyone from the fifth round or anything like that. I think Jason Owe from Penn State is a major sleeper because that speed is insane. I think he posted a 4.36 as an edge rusher, and he's certainly not a polished, he's not a polished talent. But if you can, like, that's just a freak of nature to do a 4.36 as an edge rusher. So I've seen him go like to JJ's Bucks at 32 in a lot of these drafts. I think that's a major sleeper that, you draft him late in the first and he turns into something special.
I love it. Max, do you have them off the top of your head?
I'm like nothing that I like really want to hard commit to, but I can throw out something. I think the biggest breakout, I think that one way or another, Justin Fields is gonna find himself in a good situation. And I don't know, man. We talked about the eye test a little bit ago. I haven't had a more eye test game than Justin Fields against Clemson in quite a while. And you know what? Even if it is for one game, that if you're going to encapsulate a guy in one game, you do it in the biggest game of his career. And I'm not going to sit here and claim that I'm watching a lot of Ohio State. I know Ohio State doesn't have the best reputation for producing pro QBs. Justin Fields wasn't brought in as a runner. Justin Fields was brought in as a passer to Ohio State, and he showed it. Like, I think that wherever he ends up, he's going to be in a good spot. I think whatever team gets him is going to be happy that they did so. I don't have too much. I guess maybe a breakout, a guy who I just think was, he's getting disrespected because he's small. Rondale Moore from Purdue.
Yeah,
there was a
I
time
love
when
him.
he was considered, a top half of the first round guy, and now it seems like he's more like, maybe late first, early second, somewhere around there. Eye test, just straight eye test. Like, that dude is, he's the best way for me to put it is he's just so instinctual. Like, he does have, the breakaway speed, but you kind of need it when you are his size. Like, Devontae Smith is not big. Rondale Moore is definitely small, but he's a very instinctual player. Like, he just knows how to make people miss. He's He's shorthanded with the ball. He doesn't turn the ball over. He even blocks well for as well as you can at 5'10". So I think that he'll be a good addition, at least a fun addition. Maybe the team he'll be on won't be amazing. Like say he ends up with the Jags. Say the Jags take him 33. Jags might not be amazing, but he can certainly be a really crafty third piece with Shark and Shenault.
Man, I would love to watch that team play.
That'd be cool.
I'll go Doc Lock mode real quick, and because I think it's a little out there. The value on the Jaguars odds to make the playoffs next year, it might be enticing for me. I really like their weapons.
I could take that.
They certainly do. They have a way in to win their division next year.
Yes.
If everything
Yes.
goes well.
That's
go
the
well
biggest
for them.
thing.
You could do worse than throwing Flyers on the Jaguars.
Exactly.
Sure.
I'm not saying book it or anything, but like that value is probably going to be pretty good. And you're throwing Rondale Moore's name out there. Woo! I would take that.
I would take that before this draft, in all honesty, because there's going to be somebody that feels the same way after tomorrow. So if you're searching FanDuel, DraftKings, whatever it is tonight, maybe you toss a little bit on the Jags. You know what I mean?
A little sprinkle.
You never know. A little sprinkle. How I'm going, my biggest breakout is going to be Azeez Ojulari from Georgia. I think the kid's a freak. I don't think he's getting talked about enough. All you hear about is the kids from Miami, and I'll get to them. The kids from Miami and Kwity Paye. I think Azeez Ojulari is getting slept on. So I think he's going to come in and absolutely he's so explosive off the line, and he's got the natural hip bend that you look for. Like he can bend the corner probably better than most in this class. He's going to be an explosive edge rusher. So my sleeper, I'm sticking with edge rusher. Oh, but my breakout, I didn't want to give you guys Terrence Marshall Jr. again because I gave him his due a little bit earlier. My sleeper, I'm going to go. Say that again?
I said that was a free play.
Yeah, I gave you a free one. The sleeper, I'm going to stick with the edge. I'm going to go Carlos Basham Jr. out of Wake Forest. Again, just a freak athlete. Like all this kid did was come in, rush the passer. I think he's going to be fun to watch. Whoever grabs him in late day 2, early day 3, I think is going to have a steal on their hands. Kid's just going to come in. You can put him on either left side or right side. He's going to come at you. And then bust. I gave you Devontae Smith earlier. I'm not going to go there again. So I'm going to go with Jalen Phillips. I don't think Greg Rousseau. I don't think Greg Rousseau is going to go as high as he was originally thought to be. I think people are souring on him.
I was going to say Greg Rousseau is my bust. I forgot his name, and I had to look. I was literally just looking through a list to find him. I actually think Greg Rousseau is a guy who might end up getting taken like. I hate to say this, but he could end up in the Marcus Smith position where he gets taken like early 20s when he has no business being there.
He really doesn't. I'm going Jalen Phillips though. If he didn't have the injury history, he would be the best pass rusher in this class.
Okay. All right.
But
I was going to say, Jalen Phillips passed my eye test if we want to go back to the eye test.
Oh, he's an amazing player. And I'm going bust by value here. And when I say value, somebody's going to grab Jalen Phillips, not at the end of the first round, in the 20 area. And there's a greater than 50% chance this kid only plays in the league for 5 years, rookie contract and year, like a year or two into his second contract. Like it's very real. Like the kid has over 5 documented very bad concussions. Like I really hate to say it. I'm just like, it's so tough to watch. Like and if you're taking a kid that high, I struggle to not be very, very wary of that.
They're pretty much the only injury that you can expect to happen in your career.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like as bad as that sounds to say, like if you're playing a lot of snaps in football, you're pretty likely to get a concussion at least once, just some which way or another. It doesn't even have to be your doing.
Especially at that position, you're headbanging. Like it is what it is. I wish the kid nothing but the best. I really do. From all accounts, he's a great player. And his head coach at the time at UCLA, Jim Morris, said there was more to his early retirement before he came back than just the concussions. So take that for what you will. There was some off the field stuff, but his medical sheet is not clean. And if we're knocking guys like Caleb Farley for stuff that can be cleared up, concussions can't be cleared up. So I just he's the one he's who I fall to for my bust outside of my previously mentioned not high on guys. Is that fair?
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
I think that's
Oh yeah.
All right. Woof. That was heavy. That was a good main event right there. That was
heavy.
Content.
I thought you were going to go as far as saying all the edge rushers from the U were going to be bust. Was in Roche, Russo, and Phillips.
Oh no, Quincy Roche is going to be a Hall of Famer.
Yes, sir.
Oh.
Temple product right there.
Temple, one of the many who has performed well at Temple and then realized, hey, I can play at a better school. I'm going to go do that.
Yep. He followed Manny back down there. No, like I said, I don't think Greg Russo's going to turn into anything. He feels just more like a situational pass rusher to me. He doesn't play. He feels like a worse Yannick Ngakoue, a guy who is a speed rusher but doesn't play the run at all. Like the dude doesn't play the run. I'm sorry.
Neither does Jalen Phillips at all, pretty much.
Yeah, if you're going to be a 3-down defender, you need to play the run. I'm sorry. So it is what it is. But yeah, I don't like either starting edge rushers from Miami this year. Shocker. Somebody should pay us for this. That was a great main event. That was a fantastic main event, if I do say so myself.
Insightful.
That was something else.
That's what the people want. Exactly.
And you know what? That great content was in part brought to you by PHL Sports Nation.
Hey.
Okay. We're doing a little bit of cross promotion here because our dudes over there, they're great guys over at PHL Sports Nation, proud media partner over here. They really whatever kind of content you want. They do all four. They're Philly 4 for 4 here. Great content, great group of writers over there, whether it be your Eagles, Sixers, Flyers, or Phillies.
Don't sleep on the Union.
Even the Union writers, yeah, no, they have it. You want it, they have it. You can find them on any social media platform, PHL Sports Nation. And you know what? You can find us there too, because like I said, a little bit of cross promotion here. Like I said, PHL Sports Nation, great guys. Go check them out. PHL Sports Nation on all social media platforms. We're getting into our second half right now. Word on the street. You guys know how it works. I'm going to give you a phrase. You're going to fill it with your word that you pulled from these streets. Okay?
Let's do it.
First one. If the Eagles draft a quarterback, I will. Max?
Can I curse this one time?
Oh, dude, curse it up.
If the Eagles draft a QB, I will freak the fuck out. I'll be honest. I really will. That just can't happen this year, especially not at 12. I can't. I don't want to entertain that thought. No, there's no universe. There's no universe that drafting a QB high makes me anything but angry this year. And by high, I mean the first 3 rounds.
And Max, I think the worst part about this is I think you have to at least entertain the idea so you can start mentally preparing for it because I'm scared. I'm terrified.
You're telling me if Justin Fields isn't there at 12, I don't have to worry?
No, I'm telling you, you have to worry.
No, that's what I'm saying. I know. It's just it's a thought that I've considered it. It's come across my brain. I don't really like it, but I've had the thought. I don't want to entertain it any more than I have to.
So Josh, if the Eagles draft a quarterback, I will.
If the Eagles draft a quarterback, I will question my fandom, which is something I have never once done before. I am a loyal guy. I bleed green through and through. But honestly, if they draft one of these 5 quarterbacks at number 12, I will question my entire fandom because it's just the worst move I would have ever seen. I've labeled myself as a Jalen Hurts guy. I love him. You have so many holes to fill. Drafting a quarterback at 12 would be criminal. So yes, I would have to question my deep-seated loyalty to this organization.
Wow. I'm sorry.
I don't like saying it.
I don't blame you.
I know.
I don't blame you.
I know that hurt to say. I'm sorry.
It's just the truth, It's the word I heard on the street.
It's the word you picked up from these streets. If the Eagles draft a quarterback, I will chuckle.
No, you
must
won't.
be nice.
Well, no. Not out of spite. I will chuckle because the chucklehead still has a job. Like it's.
You're not making me feel any better.
No,
I know.
I'm sorry. I'm trying here, but like, what else is there to
It's not
do?
working.
Well, what else is there to do? Like, and it's going to be followed by a parade to the Zoom podium by, you know what? We played rock paper scissors with him, and we just couldn't pass him up.
Yeah.
Like he threw rock twice in a row, and that told me he's got stones. You know what I mean? It's like
Why are you doing this to me? Why are you assaulting me like this right now?
I don't mean to. To me, drafting a quarterback doesn't make you worse than you already are. You know what I mean? And that's not just for the Eagles. That goes for a lot of teams.
But it doesn't make you any semblance better, and that's just as big of an issue.
Well, it might. It could. You know.
I think it makes you worse. It makes you worse.
It definitely makes you worse.
Really? You think so?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. For the Eagles at 12.
I tried. Okay, I tried to bring it back. I don't.
That's all right. Just move on.
Hey,
I would love to move on now.
I'll revise it. I'll chuckle as Howie Roseman's office gets Molotov cocktails thrown at.
There you go.
Yeah, there we go.
That's a little bit better.
Okay, that's what I was trying to get across. I apologize.
Okay.
I apologize.
Should have just said that from the start.
You're right. You're right. The King Chucklehead down at the link. Our second word from these streets, and I mentioned it a little bit. Nick Sirianni challenging prospects in rock, paper, scissors is Josh.
You know, I tried to come up with a very good adjective, and I couldn't. So what I'm coming up with is it's Ted Lasso. I don't know if you guys have seen the TV show Ted Lasso. I'm watching it right now. I'm enjoying it very much. But when Nick Sirianni said that, I was like, okay, you're Ted Lasso. You have absolutely no idea what you're doing at this job. I mean, it's the way Nick Sirianni talks makes me like him as a person, but every word that comes out of his mouth makes me despise him as the head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles. The only thing I can come up with is that is a Ted Lasso thing to do, Coach Sirianni.
Max, Nick Sirianni challenging prospects in rock, paper, scissors is.
It's a football guy move. I'll be honest. Rock, paper, scissors is fascinating in both in such a mental aspect. It's so simple, right? So simple on the surface. Rock, paper, scissors is so mentally like if you wanted to play if you were playing a rock, paper, scissors tournament for $100,000, every single round is mental warfare. You know what I mean? Like the very first time you're rock, paper, scissors with your opponent, it's blank slate. You don't know what's going on. Immediately from that point forward, you got to process information on the fly, and you got to pick up things. So I say this: I think it's a football guy move to kind of test them. I'll be honest though; it's hard to think that he meant it that deep because I haven't seen anything to suggest that I don't want to say the capable word or competent, but like he was a slightly above average offensive coordinator on a team that went one and done on the playoffs. Like, he hasn't proven himself to me as a guru yet. Every single public appearance he's made as Eagles head coach has been not great so far. And I got to say, this has probably been the most redeeming moment for me as a fan of him. Honestly, I actually really like this. And I'm sure he's not the first person to ever do it, but I like that he has some kind of system. Hell, even if it's just for a playful, see how competitive you are in the heat of the moment. What's wrong with that? I don't want guys who, you know what I mean? I'll take a guy who's down to get juiced up for meaningless rock, paper, scissors. This is the biggest job interview of their lives. If you can't rock, paper, scissors the shit out of the guy interviewing you, how bad do you really want it?
I couldn't agree more. I think this is absolutely genius.
Wow.
I think this is genius. And I'm not saying genius as in like 142 IQ. I'm saying genius as in, all right, this dude was hired to be a puppet. Let's just get that out there. He was hired to have a hand up his rear end and echo the words from up above. First year head coach coming right out of a pandemic, can't interview any of the guys that he likes in person. So on the fly, this dude on his like 7th cup of espresso, because we all know this dude does not drink decaf. This man is pure juice. Okay. Nick Sirianni brings the energy every day. So he on the fly goes, all right, so I got to come up with something to test these guys. And let's be honest. If you're coming in for an interview and this dude comes in, sits down, bounces off all four walls before even looking at you and goes, yo, Rochambeau, me, you, right now. Okay? I'm dead fucking serious. Right here. 1, 2, 3. Is that not going to, like, as like a 20-year-old, 21-year-old, like, kind of take you back a little bit? You know what I mean? Like, what's going on right now? You're serious? Like, Nick, you're completely serious? Like, this dude, he not only found he might have walked back asswards into a good idea, but he figured out a way to throw these guys off their game and figure out what he wanted to figure out from these guys as a first-year head coach who isn't really given much autonomy. I think he's having fun with it, and I think his brand of having fun with it just happens to be working so far because, as we all know, as he stated a bunch of times, Nick Sirianni loves ball, boys. That's all I got. I think it's genius. Is that you tell me?
Dude, I'm with you. I'm with you. I actually really like it. I think it's a simple yet creative way to go about things your own way.
Completely agree. Josh, did we sway you?
A little. I don't know. I just think it's silly. I feel like you could get a prospect just like confused and you could be the most competitive guy. You know what I mean? Like, is Nick Sirianni really using rock, paper, scissors as like the X factor in selecting someone? Like, I hope not. So I don't know. Like, I hear you.
What's wrong with being silly though? This is men being played to play a kid's game. You know what I mean? Let's have fun.
Yeah. No. Yeah. It's just,
I don't know.
Especially when he's just a puppet. I'm not buying in. He's a bumbling fool. That's the guy coming up with the game plan. Ugh.
Woof. All right, Josh doesn't buy it. We're gonna tap it out. We are going to tap it out. But before we get to tap outs, I have to tell you about one of the craziest things I heard this week, boys. This isn't my tap out. Keep in mind. I had a little birdie tell me that you can find Trust the Process Live wherever you get your podcasts.
You got me good.
Wherever you get your podcasts. I don't know how many different ways to say it. Folks. Wherever, however, whoever. If you got a podcast plug, if he shows up with like a hard drive and you download podcasts like every week, I don't know what your game is. I don't know how you play. You ask him for us because he can find us easily. We're everywhere. Okay. Trust the Process Live, TTPL Philly. If it's not Trust the Process Live, one of those two, you'll find us wherever you get your podcasts. Who's tapping us out first?
I can go first. I have one this week for once.
That's Philadelphia.
Right. So good news. And Josh, sorry not to be old on you, but I this is a little bit of a boomer tap out for me, but I refinanced my private student loans yesterday, and no free clout for the company I did it through. If you want to get the name dropped, you can pay us. But I just gotta say, it feels amazing just knowing how much less I have to pay on a per month basis. So I kind of got my cake and got to eat it too with going to college and not having to pay out the ass for it every single month. So it only took 4 years of working, but here we are, and I'm going to chalk this one up as a pretty big win for your boy.
Hey, good on you, Max. Love that.
Hey, you're making me feel old. Give me some stress right now. I'm right in the heat of it. Maybe I should get out.
If it makes you feel any better, worth every dollar. Do it again, no questions.
Yeah, of course. We love education around here.
Big education, guys.
Speaking of education, I got a promo tap out. I got to do a self-promo, university promo here. And, we were talking about the NFL draft all day. Don't mean to take away from the guys over at Inside the Birds, our direct competition, of course. But on Thursday night, Temple University's WHIP Radio will also be doing a little draft show from South House Bar and Grill over in South Philly. You can catch yours truly hosting that and reacting very over the top in disappointment when the Eagles select J.C. Horn, which I think they will. So if you're not doing anything, you're looking to do something Thursday for the draft, come over to South House.
Love that. South House. And where South House, where's that at?
It's over in South Philly. I want to say on 12th Street. Don't quote me on that, though. I only went once. I gotta check that out again.
Love that. Love that. Yeah, you know what? I don't know. I give way too many PSAs for my tap outs. So I'm gonna get away from that. So we'll just say I know I wished it to you on your birthday, but I'll end us out with happy belated birthday to our guy Josh Locke, Josh Safran here. I said Doc Locke, Josh Safran. You know what I'm trying to say. Happy late birthday, my guy.
Appreciate it.
That is going to be it for us here on Trust the Process Live. As a reminder, get us wherever you get your podcasts. We will see you next week after the Eagles maybe make the number 12 selection in the 2021 NFL Draft. Maybe 12, maybe something, maybe higher, maybe lower. I don't know. The man of digits might, it's more of a question for him. And we may or may not have a special guest for you next week to help us break down said draft. But as always, hey, maybe, I don't know. You didn't hear it from me. I'm no snitch. As always, we are brought to you by My New Philly, where something's always new and everything's always
Philly.
Catch you after the draft, everyone.
Let's go.